Let's determine the value of sine t given that t equals negative 7 pi over 6. So first let me replace t by negative 7 pi over 6. So we have to find the value of sine of negative 7 pi over 6. So first I'm going to write down this identity, that is sine of negative x, and this equals negative of sine x. Otherwise, we say that sine of a negative angle. This is basically the sine of negative angle or value equals the negative of the sine of the positive angle. So, using this identity, we can write this. This is a sine of a negative angle. We can rewrite this as negative of sine of the positive angle, that is 7 pi over 6. Now we have to determine the value of sine of 7 pi over 6 and multiply by negative. So I can write down this negative of, I'm going to split this 7 pi over 6 as two parts, that is sum of two fractions, or I can write down this as pi plus pi over 6. Basically, I need the reference angle that should be less than 90 degree or pi by 2. So I can rewrite this 7 pi over 6 as a fraction as pi plus pi over 6. So let me do that. So therefore this becomes sine of pi plus pi over 6. Now I'm going to use the quadrant information. That is, we know that we have four quadrants. That is, the first quadrant is every trigonometric ratio is positive. Second quadrant, sine ratio is positive, and third quadrant, tangent and its reciprocal trigonometric ratio is positive. And finally, in the fourth quadrant, cosine and its reciprocal trigonometric ratio is positive. And so this angle, basically this pi plus pi over 6, it basically lies in quadrant 3. This is represented by pi plus some angle. So we know that this angle, that is 7 pi over 6, this basically lies in quadrant 3. In quadrant 3, only the tangent ratio is positive. Since we are concerned about the sine ratio, we say that this equals, we put this negative which we have in front, and this equals a negative of sine of, we just put this reference angle, that is pi over 6. So it's basically negative of negative sine pi over 6. So we multiply these two negative, which becomes a positive. So finally, it becomes a sine of pi over 6. And this equals, if we convert this pi over 6 to degrees, we say that this equals 30 degree. And this is a standard value which we can find from unit circle or from the standard trigonometric tables. And this equals 1 by 2. So therefore, we say that sine t at t equal to negative 7 pi over 6 equals 1 by 2. We now determine the cosine of t, that is for the same t value, negative 7 pi over 6. So first let me replace t by negative 7 pi over 6. So this becomes cosine of negative 7 pi over 6. We can use this identity, that is a cosine of a negative angle, and this is also equal to cosine of a positive angle. So in the next step, I'm going to write down this is a negative angle. This equals cosine of positive angle, which is 7 pi over 6. Once again, we can rewrite this 7 pi over 6 as pi plus pi over 6. So this is basically the reference angle, pi over 6. And as we used for sine of angle, we can use the quadrant information, that is ASTC. And again, this lies in the third quadrant. So in third quadrant, only the tangent ratio is positive. This is basically pi over 6, or every angle which lies in this quadrant will be in the form pi plus pi over 6. So I can simply say that this is equivalent to cosine of, first let me write down, this is cosine of pi plus pi over 6. And since we determined that this angle lies in quadrant 3, we put this as negative of cosine of the reference angle. The reference angle here is pi over 6. And we know that this cosine of negative pi over 6, and this equals cosine of 30 degree. This is a standard value, and we can write down this as negative of root 3 over 2. So this is the value of the trigonometric expression cosine of negative 7 pi over 6.